Well, a great big howdy, friends and neighbors. I'm Jay Armsworthy with Jay Armsworthy and Eastern Tradition. I want to welcome you here today with this virtual live performance. As many of you know, the concerts on the square in Leonardtown and many other events around the Southern Maryland area have been canceled. And I would like to personally thank the Leonardtown Business and Entertainment District, the St. Mary's Arts Council, and also the commissioners of Leonardtown. I also need to thank Brandy for keeping this entertainment alive and trying to keep these events going, even though they have to be either live video recordings or put together videos. And that's what you're about to see. We'll start off with the first part of the clips that you're going to see was from the National Council of Traditional Arts, which was filmed last June 2019. I was awarded the Heritage Award for a Person of the Year for the Maryland State Arts Council and the National Council for Traditional Arts. And it was a big honor to have gotten that award for the presentation of events that I've done in the past, like the Bluegrass for Hospice that I've done for 10 years, the Little Margaret's Bluegrass Festival that I took over a couple of years ago and took it to 30 years. And also a radio show that I do every Monday afternoon, Monday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the bluegrassjamboree.com. And it was a big honor to receive that award. And you'll see a performance that we did there, as well as the acceptance of me and the award. And various other videos of my band performing. And again, I want to thank Brandy for putting all this together, and thank you for spending your time to give a listen and watch. Be safe and enjoy the video. Thank you.
Well, I have cold soldiers where I may be done on these old you get
It's in my blood and always has been, and I've just grown up on bluegrass. I love it. I have a passion. I eat, sleep bluegrass music. It's a traditional American art form. It's an original form of country music, basically. Bill Monroe, being from the state of Kentucky, and Kentucky's known for the fescue grass of bluegrass, decided to call his band the Bluegrass Boys. And it was 1946, and he started this style of bluegrass, although Bill Monroe had a lot of blues influence, and he took the blues and kind of gave it the little swing style and decided to call it bluegrass. Jay Armsworthy from California, Maryland, with my bluegrass band, Jay Armsworthy and Eastern Tradition, and really proud to have the Heritage Award. It was such an honor to receive that this year. Enjoy all parts of bluegrass music. I'm a radio disc jockey, I have a radio show called Bluegrass on the Bay, and also a promoter. I've done several events, Bluegrass for Hospice, Little Margaret's Bluegrass and Old Time Music Festival, and American Legion Bluegrass Series at the American Legion Hall in Hughesville, Maryland. The basic instruments in bluegrass is the guitar, the banjo, the fiddle, big doghouse bass they call it, upright bass, and a mandolin. That's the four main instruments in bluegrass music. A lot of later groups added what was called a resonator guitar, that's more known as a dobro. And so that made a six-piece band. Bluegrass, you can identify when you hear the guitar, the banjo, and the fiddle, and the mandolin together, that's you got bluegrass. Through the winds on the red high is awful cold. My mind is back, keeps me hard, and I love you so. Now you're gonna let me here travel this lonesome road. Family would get together and have a little jam session, and one night I said, Daddy, show me a chord on the guitar. So he did, and the following week I learned another chord and just took it on from there. And by the time I was 12, 13 years old, I was playing out in public and playing in jam sessions, and my dad and mom bought me my first Martin guitar. It was a 1980 D35, and got that for my birthday when I turned 12 years old. About 15 years old, I had a little band called the Backyard Bluegrass Boys. just me and two other guys, and would play around the local events such as the county fair or the Oyster Festival in St. Mary's or the Jefferson Patterson Park events and stuff like that. And I had went on the road with several other groups, and that's when I also recorded my first CD, Just Looking for Fun. And in the middle, I was doing some things on the side as Jay Armsworthy and Friends. And then a gentleman came along that was in the band, and he gave it the name Eastern Tradition. He moved back to California, and he let me have the band, Eastern Tradition, because he couldn't use it on the West Coast. So it's been Jay Armsworthy and Eastern Tradition since about 1990, 95. The bluegrass is some music that you feel. It's an emotional music. A lot of bluegrass songs, everyday people have lived or experienced a part of a song, of a bluegrass song. I mean, there's just songs and there's certain words that can just grab you in a song and just give you chills on your arm, and you can feel the music.
It is impossible to talk about bluegrass in Southern Maryland and not mention the name Jay Armsworthy. This is a celebration. A native of California, Maryland, and St. Mary's County, Jay has devoted his life to the traditional, hard-driving bluegrass that feeds his spirit. I've heard Jay play a number of times, and he always is extremely transparent with his love for this art form. Jay has for many years been the host of the Bluegrass on the Bay radio program, which is broadcast throughout the Mid-Atlantic from his home. Jay has been the host and the promoter of a number of bluegrass and bluegrass-oriented festivals throughout Southern Maryland, including most recently the Little Margaret's Bluegrass Festival. He also does a winter concert series at the American Legion, Post 238 in Hughesville, Charles County. The list really does go on and on. Jay learned guitar from his father, and he caught a couple of chords as a young man. He learned a couple of more chords the next week and a couple of more chords the week after that. And he tours today with his band Eastern Tradition, which he inherited from a mentor of his some years ago. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you from St. Mary's County, Jay Armsworthy and Eastern Tradition.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Southern Maryland.
All right. Good.
It was long, long ago in the moonlight. We were sitting on the banks of the stream. When you whispered so sweetly, I love you. And the waters murmured too. Oh, they tell me your love's like a flower. In the springtime blossom the fair. In the fall when it withers away, dear. And they tell me that's the way of your love. Leon Morris on the mountain. I remember the night, little darling. We were talking of days gone by. When you told me you was always love me, that your love for me would never die. Well, they tell me your love is like a flower in the springtime blossom so fair. In the fall when it withers away, dear. And they tell me that's the way of your love. ago you said you'd be my home. And though I thought you'd gone away, you left me all alone. Well, the kind of love I had for you, I find sweetheart grows cold. But now you're gone and left me here to travel this lonesome road. I'm traveling down this lonesome road, oh, how I hate to go. Well, when the storm is raging, it is awful cold. My mind drifts back to you, sweetheart, and I love you so. Now you're gone and left me here to travel this lonesome road. As I woke up from my sleep, I saw an image on the wall. When I looked up and saw her peaceful smiling face,
Armsworthy, an Eastern tradition. If that doesn't get you moving, I don't know if there's hope for you. Jay, come on up.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of the state of Maryland, Governor Hogan, Department of Commerce, Division of Tourism, Film, and the Arts, and the Maryland State Arts Council, it's my distinct pleasure to present to you the 2019 Heritage Award in the category of Person. Jay Armsworthy.
Thank you so much.
Let's get a picture together. Jay, would you like to say a few words?
Well, they always say that I'm never lost for words, because I always like to talk. But I tell you, this is very much a great honor to be presented with this. And I was really shocked when I got the message and the news about this, and just couldn't wrap my head around it. And Chad explained it all to me, what it's all about. And I really appreciate it, and it is a great honor. And I have eat, sleep, bluegrass music. I have a passion for this stuff. And as a promoter, when I bring the bluegrass groups around in Southern Maryland area, what gives me the greatest joy is seeing the smiles on the faces of people who enjoy the music and walk away and knowing that the music has made some kind of inspiration on the people and they walk away happy. And that's what gives me the great joy about continuing to do what I do. I'm a lifetime member of an organization called the International Bluegrass Music Association, and in 2005 I was part of a class called Leadership Bluegrass with a commitment to preserve and continue the tradition of my kind of music, bluegrass, in the Southern Maryland area. And that's what I continue to try to do. And the same goes with playing with my band. If I can say something on stage or do something that can be an inspiration to somebody, why, that's the kind of thing that makes me continue to do this kind of thing. And serve my community in St. Mary's. I want to thank my wife, who's with me tonight, Michelle. She supports everything that I do, and I feel that she should be the one getting this award because she has a lot of patience and for what I do, and she supports me quite a bit. And I couldn't do it without her. And I also want to thank my mom and dad, Johnny and Lorraine, for being here with me tonight. And they bought me my first guitar in 1980. It was a 1980 D35, and it's the one that I'm playing right here tonight. And I wanted to play that in this honor. Hold it out. It hadn't been out in quite a while, so I decided to do that. And I'm doing something that my dad always wanted to do, and that was play music and be around the music and put on shows. And he taught me, as Chad said, a few chords on the instrument, and then I took it over from there, and he gave it up. And I continued to do it, and I want to thank my mom and dad for keeping me inspired into the music and keep me on the right road growing up and always kept me around good people. And if it wasn't for their inspiration in music, I don't know what I'd be doing today. Probably wouldn't be music, I'm sure. I have some other close friends out here in the audience and a lot more that came by and surprised me that I didn't expect to be coming, but I want to thank Jim and Martha Bailey, my adopted parents, and also Joe and Denise Bragg, who's been following the band Eastern Tradition ever since I started. 25 years of friendship that we've had, and also my aunt and uncles with me, Franny and Judy Woodburn. And say a big shout out to Chucky and Kristen and Jerry and Marie. Appreciate y'all. Y'all surprised me. Didn't Southern Maryland is well supported here this evening, I think. And also, I got to mention another gentleman that has been beside me for the past probably 12 years, 15 years, I guess, doing the shows and all the Bluegrass for Hospice and all the festivals that I do down home. And that's our great, wonderful sound technician, Troy Jones. I don't know if he's with us tonight, but I think he wanted to be. Yeah, he is. Hey! I tell you, through the years, I've been really fortunate to have some great musicians that I've played with that have come and gone in this group. And some very well-known and very famous musicians like Mr. Tom Gray, and Mr. Leon Morris. And Tom, I think he's back here. Oh, he took off in the audience. Tom is one of the founding members of the group called the Seldom Scene from the D.C. area. And, yep. And see, I was fortunate to travel with him and play a lot of music, and we traveled many miles and told many stories together, and I'm really thrilled. And by the way, he's filling in with us tonight again because our regular bass player, Lewis Slayton, couldn't be with us. And Tom, I want to thank you. It is a great honor that you were able to come out and help us out tonight. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you were able to do this with us. And you're welcome. And little Leon Morris, now my mom and dad took me out to see him play when I was just a kid growing up. And I always loved his style and was inspired by his guitar picking. Never thought the day would come that we'd be playing music together. And I thank him, and I'm going to thank all the guys. Scott Walker back here on the banjo. Thank them all for putting up with me and being part of the band. I'm having more fun playing music now than I ever have in all my life. I guess that's from getting older and mellowing out and not sweating the small stuff, as Scott tells me all the time. Once again, I want to say thank you to a great person standing here to my left, Mr. Chad Budabal, for his hard work that he does in searching out and preserving the traditions of Maryland's folk life, as well as the Maryland State Arts Council and the National Council for Traditional Arts, and for all they do in the arts and entertainment throughout Maryland. Thank you guys for this recognition. It means a lot, and I'm going to try my best to keep this tradition alive in Southern Maryland. Thank you. Man, we call him, plays the mandolin and does a fine job. He's originally from Canada, makes his home in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Now they call him Mr. International Bluegrass, and he's a legend. He's our senior. Make him welcome little Leon Morris, Mr. International Bluegrass. He had a senior moment. Could you tell that while ago? Back here on the bass comes from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, and we've been palling around with this stuff for quite a few years, and awful glad to have Mr. Lewis Slayton on the big bass.
Thank you. Give a nice hand also, if you would please, to our leader and founder, Mr. J. Armsworthy.
Thank you very much. How many of you like gospel music? Well, you know, gospel is a really big part of bluegrass music. And we got a gospel CD out, and it's around here at one of these stores somewhere that sells CDs, and we'd like for you to check them out and take some home. And here's this tune that's off of that, and Scott's going to kick this off, and I love the way he does this. It's one entitled Heaven's Door. I saw an image on the wall when I looked up and saw her peaceful smiling face. Then I heard her dear sweet voice, would you like to do one thing? Here's a message from me to you, for you to bring. Cry for me anymore. I burn my wings through heaven's door. There's so much that I would like to say. I guess we'll meet again someday. Please don't cry for me anymore, 'cause I'm inside heaven's door. By the way, there's one more thing I'd like to say. don't they say? So I'll sign off for now until the end. I know we'll meet again someday. So don't cry now, I'm inside heaven's door. Please tell Mom and Dad and Sis that I'm okay. Not to cry for me anymore. I've earned my ways through heaven's door. Well, there's so much that I would like to say. I guess we'll meet again someday. Please don't cry for me anymore. I'm inside heaven's door. Please don't cry for me anymore. I'm inside heaven's door. Thank you. Thank you, folks. One entitled Heaven's Door. Get a lot of requests for that song. Huh?
Martha White!
Oh, wish we had a fiddle. We could do that. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not one of our sponsors, but we might get in trouble if we do that. Now you beg right. Oh, with Martha White. That's right. That was Flat and Scruggs' sponsor for many years. We'd like to get down to some good old traditional bluegrass right now and do a little old Flat and... Hey, speaking of Flat and Scruggs, here's a Lester Flat and Earl Scruggs song for you right now. It's one entitled, I Wouldn't... Not that's Rena's line. I Wonder Where You Are Tonight. Tonight I'm sad, my heart's worried. I wondered if I'm wrong or right to dream about you, though you left me. That lingers in my heart tonight. That old rain is cold and slowly falling upon my window pane tonight. And though you look rosy red gold, I wonder where you are tonight. a little comedy once in a while? Something funny? Y'all want to laugh? Well, they're worth laughing at. Well, I wondered if I should put this extra verse in the song or not, but I decided to go ahead and do it. How many of you heard of Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs? Come and listen to my story. That's not it. Well, we found this old tape one time that Lester and Earl had recorded the song, and he wrote this little extra verse. It never got recorded, but we'll sing it for you, and I'll try to sing it like Lester did. You know, he kind of had a little self like this. And some of you guys might relate to this. You took the washer and the dryer. Now, honey, you know that just ain't right. I'm slowly running out of clothes, dear, so I'll wear your underwear tonight. The rain is cold and slowly falling upon my window pane tonight. And though your love grows even cold, I wonder where you are tonight. Here's the Armsworthy song. Back in my childhood, on a winter's day, I can still remember the old man saying, sign these papers and sell us the ground, and we'll build you a road in town. All I've ever known is this old mountain home. I'd rather sing on rocky ground if I had to travel the road in town. Well, Daddy was burdened and he hung his head down. We waited for an answer, he made not a sound. But Mama was crying and silently praying. We all shouted when we heard Daddy say, this old mountain home. I'd rather sleep on rocky ground if I had to travel the road into town. So many changes had come to these hills. Mom and Dad resting, they're lying here still. Will the coal come broken and the mines have shut down? The only thing that's left is that road in town. All I've ever known is this old mountain home. I'd rather sleep on rocky ground. Rather sleep on rocky ground if I had to travel the road into town. Thank you folks for coming out of the road into town. They come to the big city and had to buy out everything and put a big road into town. Wonder if you're lonesome too. Wonder if you're lonesome too. Now give me your right hand, honey, and I'll say my farewell to you. Only my thoughts make me lonesome. I wonder if you're lonesome too. Wonder if you're lonesome too. How would you like to be lonesome when someone is through with you? My heart is sad and lonesome. Wonder if you're lonesome too. Wonder if you're lonesome too. Travel this lonesome road. But now you're gone so far away, you left me all alone. But the kind of love I had for you, I find sweetheart was gone. But now you're gone and left me here to travel this lonesome road. I'm traveling down this lonesome road, how I hate to go. In the storm and rain, it's awful cold. My mind drifts back to you, sweetheart, and I love you so. Now you're gone and left me here to travel this lonesome road. To travel this lonesome road.
Tonight as we sit by my window, I'm reading your letter so true. I hope that you'll find in your letter where you say I'll come back to you. Oh, come back to me, little darling. I miss sweet day and time. Oh, come back to me, little darling. Don't leave me alone all my life. Here without you, my life is so lonely and blue. My nights are so lonely without you. Oh, won't you come back and be true? Oh, come back to me, little darling. I miss you each day and each time. Oh, come back to me, little darling. Don't leave me alone all my life. Here without you, my life is so lonely and blue. Well, now I'm so lonely without you. Now won't you come back and be true? Well, come back to me, little darling. I miss you each day and each night. Oh, come back to me, little darling. Don't leave me alone all my life. Don't leave me alone all my life.
Also for all the hard work that you do for bluegrass music and keeping it alive down here in Tennessee. Here's a song they wrote, and one called Jesus, Take Hold of My Hand. to the promised land. My we cannot reach, without you I can't stand. Jesus, sweet Jesus, don't let go of my hand. Jesus, sweet Jesus, don't let go of my hand.
Over here on the left-hand side, picking the 5-string banjo, comes from Baltimore, Maryland, but makes his home up in Shrewsbury, Pennsylvania area now. Big welcome from Mike Mumford on the banjo.